Welcome. Today we're stepping away from the usual analysis. We're diving deep into something more internal, like a psychological report, but from a dream.
Exactly. We're entering a symbolic space, really. A place where the daytime rules, they just sort of soften. We're listening for the pulse beneath the story.
And the story starts on this platform. It's described as not quite a station, and the feeling, smell, like wet wool, old paper. That sense of almost remembering something.
That almost remembering is key. It sets the stage immediately.
Yeah, and the core feeling is right there. Having missed something vital. Not a train, but the text calls it a version of yourself, a life you were supposed to board.
And that ache, that specific feeling of having missed out, that's the unconscious signaling, isn't it? It knows exactly where you, the dreamer, diverged, this abandoned platform. It's a symbol of a choice, maybe one that was put off or maybe actively pushed down.
Like a warning light on the dashboard of the psyche.
Precisely. It's not about a real train schedule. It's an emotional reckoning presented as a missed connection.
Okay, so in this fog around the tracks, the main figure shows up. The watcher.
Ah, yes. The conflict arrives. He doesn't walk in, he just is there. Very still, very quiet, standing right at the edge.
And the feeling is instant, right?
Yeah.
Unsettling, like recognizing someone you shouldn't. The description says his gaze feels like a cold draft.
A draft under a door you thought was sealed tight. He's already inside the places you believed were locked.
Let's talk about how he looks, because the description is so specific. The coat he's wearing is too big, swallows him up, like borrowed skin.
Yes, the coat is crucial.
And the buttons are mismatched, but there's one detail that jumps out. A missing button, near the chest. A small, deliberate absence.
That coat. It's not really his, it's the psychological armor the dreamer has built for him. You could say it's stitched together from, well, old blankets, bits of memory, internalized family stuff.
So it's protection.
It's the armor of safety, yes, but bought by sacrificing pieces of yourself, of authenticity. You see, the dreamer needs the watcher to look like an outsider, maybe even an enemy. It makes it easier to fear him.
Easier to keep him separate. Pretend he isn't part of you.
Exactly. Much easier than acknowledging he's a vital part of his self.
Okay, so what about that missing button? If the coat is all these suppressed things, what's the gap mean?
That gap. That's the hole in the dreamer's own story. The bit they won't, or maybe can't remember. It's the truth you decided to forget, perhaps. The emotional wounds you didn't let heal properly.
And the unconscious mind has to fill that void somehow.
It can't tolerate a vacuum. The sheer energy the mind uses to address this kind of absence, this missing piece, is remarkable. It keeps poking at it.
So for anyone listening, if you actively push down a difficult memory, a hard truth, why does the mind bring it back? As anxiety or symbols like this, why not just let it go?
Well, because the effort to keep it down, to forget, it takes enormous energy. And that tension, it leaks, like that cold draft the dreamer feels.
Ah, so the draft is the energy of your own vigilance.
Precisely. The mind is constantly checking on that gap, making sure that button, that memory, that desire stays hidden in the waking world. The dream is simply showing the cost of all that self-editing. It's holding up a mirror to the effort involved.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so the watcher turns, and his voice, it's the dreamer's own voice, but lower, slower, heavier.
Yes, and then comes the accusation, quiet, heavy, you know what you did.
Followed by, you hid it, under the pillow, under the smile, under the I'm fine. That sounds like guilt, like a crime.
And this is where we need to look deeper, past the surface story, the manifest content, which is indeed about accusation, shame, fear.
Right.
But the latent content, the truth underneath, it's far more interesting. This isn't about a crime in the legal sense. It's what you might call a crime of silence.
A crime of silence. Can you unpack that a bit?
Absolutely. The watcher isn't really accusing the dreamer of doing something wrong in the conventional way. He's accusing them of what they didn't do.
Right.
What they didn't allow themselves.
Like,
you didn't let yourself want something fiercely enough. Or you didn't let yourself feel rage when you should have. You didn't let the messy, hungry, maybe inconvenient parts of yourself be seen.
So the accusation is really aimed at the mask, the performance of being controlled and fine.
Exactly. It's an attack on the self-censorship.
And the dream connects this watcher directly to the source of that suppression. It says he came from the basement you built inside yourself. That's a powerful metaphor.
It really is. The basement is that sealed-off place where we stash the emotions that don't fit the public narrative. The parts we learned, maybe early on, don't get applause.
What kind of things end up there?
Oh,
Mhm.
the big, messy laughter, the burning anger that feels righteous but looks bad, the pulsing, unnamed wanting,
Mm.
all those intense feelings. We fold them up small, label them dangerous maybe, and lock them away.
So if someone listening feels like they might have built a basement like that, what are the signs in waking life? How would you know you're storing energy down there?
I'd say the number one sign is often a kind of chronic, free-floating guilt. Guilt without a clear reason. That feeling that you're about to be found out, even when you haven't done anything specific.
Why guilt?
Because what often happens is we take an unacceptable impulse, maybe raw desire, maybe ambition, maybe anger, and we transform it into something easier to handle socially, like shame or guilt. Guilt, in this kind of psychological setup, is very often just desire wearing a mask. It feels safer somehow to feel guilty for just being guilt than to admit you're fiercely ambitious, or that you deeply resent someone, or that you want something society tells you not to want.
Wow. So the anxiety isn't really about being caught for a past action. It's about the fear of wanting something forbidden and maybe, just maybe, acting on it in the future.
That's a big part of it. The unconscious won't let that stored energy just disappear. It turns the longing into atmospheric pressure, like that fog on the platform. It hangs in the air.
But the Watcher is here to change things.
Yes, he steps closer. Not with the weapon, interestingly, but with a tool. Access.
He pulls out a key. Small, tarnished. Shaped like a tooth. That's unusual.
A tooth, yes. Symbolic. The key represents access, entry, the power of agency. It's your capacity for that forbidden desire and maybe the action that follows.
And the dream notes that the dreamer realizes they have the exact same key, clenched in their own hand.
That's the paradox, isn't it?
Yeah. If you already have the key, why does the Watcher need to show it to you? Why do you think it was lost?
But you didn't lose it. You swallowed it, metaphorically speaking. You internalized the means of your own agency, your own escape, but then pretended it was gone, covered it up.
Why?
Maybe fear, maybe it felt safer to believe you were locked in. But the unconscious, you see, it doesn't really lose things, it just relocates them, changes their function. You hold the key, but maybe you've been using it to lock yourself in, not out.
So if fear is a door, the key opens it.
Mm-hmm.
And if guilt is a disguised wish, then using the key means choosing the wish, the desire, over staying safe.
It's about the power to reread your own story.
Right.
The key isn't just for a literal door, it's for turning the narrative itself. It lets you look at those sealed off, guilt-ridden parts in the basement and reframe them.
Reframe them how?
As functional systems. Systems of power, of passion, of motivation. The key lets you say, hold on, that wasn't a crime. That was a wish I was afraid of. It turns potential self-sabotage into conscious choice. It grants permission to act on that deep wanting.
Okay. So after the accusation, the key, what's the final piece? The Watcher offers something else, a mirror. Oval, tarnished silver frame.
Yes. And this is the pivot, the moment of reversal. The deepest insight, maybe he holds up the mirror, but it doesn't show your current adult face, the one that's maybe worried, performing.
What does it show?
It reflects the child. And the dream emphasizes, this child isn't afraid, isn't guilty, it's curious, it's alive.
So not about becoming innocent again like a naive child, it's about being undisguised.
Exactly that, undisguised. That child represents the shape you had before you learned to twist your feelings into acceptable forms, before you learned to apologize for existing too loudly, maybe, or too messily, too hungrily.
We mix up undisguised with innocent.
We often do. But think about it, a child can be unapologetic, impulsive, raw. That's often why that part of us gets left behind, packed away in the metaphorical basement.
Yeah.
Not because it was morally wrong, but because it was too true, too inconvenient for the adult world we had to navigate.
Wow. Okay, so as the dream winds down, things shift. The platform trembles. There's wind, but it's coming from inside between the ribs. And a train whistle blows. But it's not the train you missed. It's the one you're about to board. The feeling changes to recognition. Release.
The integration begins.
Yeah.
The Watcher, this strange figure in the borrowed coat, he's revealed not as an enemy, but as your own emissary, your internal archaeologist.
He's delivering the data.
Delivering the raw data, yes. The intense, wordless core of your own buried self, packaged in this symbolic drama. And the real work of the dream, ultimately, it isn't done just by analyzing symbols on paper.
It's done by living them.
By choosing to live them. In the waking world, that's where the integration happens.
So the key takeaway here seems clear. You're not broken. You're just encrypted. And the challenge is decryption.
Beautifully put.
The Watcher isn't there to fix you. He's helping you reread the code. your own desires, your own potential. The key's been offered, the guilt's been reframed as desire, the undisguised self has been shown in the mirror.
The unconscious has delivered its message. Its job is done, for now. The quiet work starts when you wake up. That decryption happens in the small moments, in the pauses before you react, in the glances you catch of yourself, in quiet, conscious choice to maybe let a desire surface just a little, without immediately slapping a label like selfish on it.
So the dream doesn't end when you open your eyes. It really just begins then. It gives you the map.
It gives you the map. The territory's yours to explore now.
Which brings us to a final thought for you, listening. If you accept, even just for a moment, that maybe some of your guilt is desire wearing a mask, what's the one powerful wish hiding underneath that you could stop apologizing for, starting today? That wanting isn't failure. It might just be your new compass.